Never thought I'd be so glad to see those blessed walls.
Closer. We have waited so long.
I feel crazy saying this, but Kostya was right. We should have let Solace Keep fall.
Crazy is one word for it. You really think you can just burn down someone's ancestral home?
Dearie, the keep isn't a home. It's a prison. And now the Pargrunen will never escape.
Solace is my home. I still don't get why any of you feel like you have a say in this.
But you left.
Because I chose to. Kostya doesn't get to make that decision for everybody.
If Kostya doesn't, Mihala will.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Stopping Kostya's plan was no less of a decision.
Choosing to do nothing is still a choice. One that dooms everyone to living in a stone prison.
Amalia and her people took up arms and turned to banditry, and they still weren't allowed to leave. If anything, I imagine Mihala and her traditionalists will only make it harder to leave now. You know your own mind. There's something to be said for that.
True. And you've a date with the gods soon. We can only hope that you'll make better decisions.
And that's not all. Not to spoil the moment with good news, but I doubt the rest of the island has been quiet while we've been looking for the garden. Things have only gotten more tense since Fior, and the Steel Garrote probably hasn't been doing us any favors on that front.
Especially when they're led by a woman who doesn't seem interested in staying dead. Not to mention, after we take care of the Envoy's little god problem, we'll still have an empire bearing down on us.
I guess that's why you and Sapadal are due for a heart-to-heart, or whatever you have with a god.
Can't say I'm too excited about just walking into the garden. I grew up learning I needed to protect that place, but it never felt like more than a children's tale to me.
I hear you. This island is weird enough when all we have to worry about are vengeful plans and soul-altering corruption.
Am I the only one who's looking forward to the garden? We're pioneers, stepping into the great unknown, a land of mystery.
We have to remember to love them in spite of their lack of proper enthusiasm, dearie.
Can you imagine? An untouched spiritual wilderness just waiting for us. I have a theory about the garden, or a warning, depending on how you want to look at it. Sapadal has been imprisoned a long time. The garden will be a reflection of their dreams, their nightmares, their madness.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw visions or hallucinations, and not even the fun kind.
Sanity won't get us through the garden. Madness opens the mind to discovery, so madness is what we need right now. Before we go any further, I have to ask you something. You told the Inquisitor that you intend to kill Sapadal. Is that still the plan? If only it were that simple. Sapadal is responsible for the spiritual health of the living lands, and the island has suffered for it. No matter what the Inquisitor said, I don't believe there's a right or wrong choice to make here. Just the one you believe in. Just one. Remember, we're stepping into a realm that is both physical and spiritual in nature, if you can call it nature. There's no telling how long we'll be gone. For all we know, time could run backwards in the garden.
Not a chance. We're a crew now, so you're stuck with me until the end. Marius?
I told you I'd be with you till the end. I don't go back on my promises. What about you, Giada?
You're not going into the garden without me. I have to see this with my own eyes. Yatsli, if you feel like running back to Quilici, now would be the time. No one would think less of you.
And tell Quilici that I missed out on the most exciting part.
And you don't have to. We pull together, and that's plenty.
I plan on wandering the garden whether I'm traveling with you or not. I have to find out what the big deal is.
Agreed. I'm not waiting in camp while the rest of you have all the fun. Hope to see you out there, Marius.
Well, let's go then. We can't keep your god waiting.
Do you know anyone from the Handa cult?
I know a lot of people, and just as many secrets. Why do you ask?
I was wondering what they... So, this is it. The spiritual epicenter of the living lands. Where it all began, and where it all ends. For so long I have looked out on a horizon full of possibilities. Now that it's here, I'm too scared to breathe. Why am I so anxious? That's certainly true. No Animancer has ever set foot in the garden before. Do you remember when Manto Pastor sent you after the heart of an Adragan? That was nothing compared to this. We are standing in the beating heart of the living lands. Just imagine what we can do with it. I almost turned my back on Animancy. And if I'm being honest, it was a relief. But now that we're here, who am I to reject my upbringing, my potential? My parents were going to build a better world for Animancers. That dream was their legacy to me. You and I have come farther than they did, to an impossible place where anything can happen. Anything. When you say it, I can almost believe it. I don't know what's going to happen, but you've had my back since the beginning. I won't forget it. Well, that depends. I know a few spooky stories about the living lands. They may or may not have anything to do with the garden.
Okay, but if something goes bump in the night, I'm waking you up.
Let me think of a good one. There are so many, I can't decide. Which do you want to hear first? I know one about a ranger's dream, one about a haunted well, and one about a golden city. Once upon a time, a young girl left town to fetch water from the local well. After pulling up the rope, she discovered the head of a Delimgan, one of the tree folk, staring at her from the bucket. "Return me to my grove," it said, "and I will grant you 3 wishes." So she carried the head into a peaceful clearing and sat it down on a tree stump. First, she wished for long life. The head granted her wish. Second, she wished to be impervious to a sword blade. Granted. And finally, she wished to know what happens after we die. No one ever saw her again. All they found was an Adra pillar in the middle of a clearing, next to an old stump. I heard it as a child. Took me years before I would fetch water again. Of course. Which one did you have in mind? One sunny day, a ranger took a nap in the woods of Emerald Stair. He awoke to a forest of dead trees, the night sky full of unfamiliar stars. After getting his bearings, he walked in the direction of Fior Messivernal, but the settlement was gone. In its place was the most beautiful garden, hills bursting with flowers, the grass as soft as Valiant silk. Enchanted by this vision, he bent to pick a rose, but its thorn cut like a knife, severing 3 fingers. Then, a voice filled his head, shouting, "Go now, before the land takes you, body and soul." He awoke in his own bed, a wilted rose clutched in his 2-fingered hand. It's nonsense, of course, but that's why I like it. Of course. Which one did you have in mind? Many years ago, when Fior Messivernal was barely a dot on the map, an Animancer got lost in the wilderness. He came upon a pair of ancient trees, their trunks and branches intertwined. A strange light shone in the space between the trees, and beyond that light, a city of gold. So the Animancer returned with an axe to chop the trees apart and fit his body through the narrow gap. But with every blow of his axe, the towers of the Golden City fell. The walls crumbled. The lights flickered out. By the time he made it through, there was nothing left. Only the bones of a once mighty civilization. As for the two trees, they were dead, hacked to splinters, leaving him no path back the way he came. The end of one story, and perhaps the beginning of another. It's very strange. I can't remember who told me that story, and no one claims to have heard it before. Very perceptive. What do you think it is? I have my own opinion, but I'm curious about yours. As an animancer, I hear that one a lot. These stories might not shine any light on the garden, but they could inform the way we think about it. First, the garden is beyond all mortal understanding. If you think you're safe here, you're not. And second, when you walk into the unknown, make sure to bring a friend. Indeed. I couldn't have made it this far on my own. Hey, you're a good listener. Not everyone has the patience to hold their questions to the end. Alas, that is all I can tell you about the garden. For now, at least. Who could rest at a time like this? I must admit, I had my doubts about Solace. It was like a dungeon, except the wardens were the prisoners. You could have helped Kostya destroy the keep, but you left it standing. Why? I agree. A decision like this belongs to the community, not the ambitions of one man. Even if Solace isn't going anywhere, I think your arrival was a sign of changes to come. Wherever you go, you break people out of their habits. You banish the old ways. Or perhaps you don't give yourself enough. Wherever that power comes from, whether it's your heritage or political status, it's a terrible burden. I don't envy you, but at least you keep things interesting. You too. Let me get this straight. You spoke to the spirit of Nandru, a godlike, same as you. What did he say? Any advice? Any words of encouragement? Oh. I take it that wasn't what you expected. I should have seen this coming. Never listen to the dead. They're cynical, full of regret, and determined to make us all miserable. Thankfully, you're still alive. Fate is in your hands. What happened to Nandru was ages ago. Plenty of time to reconsider one's choices. No one is closer to Sapodal than you are. Nandru lost that privilege when he died, which means you alone can judge the god of the living lands. Your opinion is the one that counts. That's all right. When the time comes, you'll figure it out. For what it's worth, I think you're going to be fine. No matter what you do about Sapodal, it can't get any worse. I wish I could say the same for the living lands. Pleasant dreams. Does anyone want to share a scary story?
No.
Gods no.
Wonder if Yardley brought her ladder.
Well, that's convenient.
Nice of someone to mark that spot for us.
I think we've found Sapadal's home.
Stand back.
Here. Oh, what happened to me?
Next one's mine. Aye, aye.
I think this is the only way down. After you.
Don't look down. Envoy? Blacked out at that Audra and the lava tubes beneath Solace. But it seemed different somehow. When you talk to Sapadol, you always have this specific expression. You had a whole different one this time. Giada says it was Nandru, like founder of Solace Nandru. Actual, dead and stuck in Audra Nandru. I bet it was. You could finally complain to someone about all the face stuff. People in Solace always claim they're speaking the word of Nandru. And here you are, actually hearing from the man. Doesn't even really matter what he said if you ask me. There are hundreds of Pargrunan who'd give anything to hear Nandru's voice. Blessed day impressive is what that is. Envoy, what do you need? Not before I've done some reading. Envoy, what do you need? The only one we haven't? I don't know. Things have changed a bit, I guess. She's not so bad. I mean, she's loud and impulsive and always trying to get herself killed, and she keeps saying things to get a rise out of me, Envoy. But, joke's on her. No one's gotten a rise out of me in years. But other than that, we can get along. She can be sweet, too. When she's not introducing me to a new word for my oak and acorns. You too. Envoy, what do you need? Let's make sure they're not listening. The only one we haven't talked about? I don't know. She's not so... Pleasant dreams.
Let me think.
When you find Sapadol, I hope you tell him how much I love what they've done with this place. And you've got to enjoy it where you can find it. Besides, as divine prisons go, I can imagine much worse. Let's hope they don't have any nightmares while we're here. Judging from their outbursts at Mount Forja and Nakukubel, they're skewing towards the danger in that mix. Complicated. I've heard that before. It's never a good thing. And I don't envy you having to deal with a loose cannon of a god. But I envy even less the mess you're going to have if, I mean, when, we escape this place. Lucky thing your Emperor sent his best representative as his envoy, right? You'll have your work cut out for you. You may have averted the attack on Fjord, but this is one situation where it's the thought that counts. And yeah, I know that's on the Steel Garrote, but it's not lost on anyone that your people despise animancy. Not when Heelgard banned the practice in Paradise. Even if you believe that, no one else will. And that's not all. Ringram may have unleashed some powerful magic against the Dream Scourge, but she left a lot of corpses in her wake. It doesn't look good for your people. Not when Ludwig was also in the region, and your people had a garrison at Eagle's Reach. And then there's Solace. You might have saved the keep, but no one's going to talk about the disaster that didn't happen. They're going to talk about why Mount Forja erupted after all this time. You'd be surprised where people can find blame when they're spun up. And it looks real bad when a Steel Garrote force just so happened to be there when it went down. Fairly or not, a lot of blame's gonna be laid at Adir's door. And if I had to guess, I don't think Hilgard's been helping matters while you've been out here. If and when we get out of here, we're walking into a powder keg. And you'll have to choose a side. That's the part I don't envy. I admire your principles, but don't underestimate what they could demand of you. Look, I've been there. I fought for Rauatai's interest in the Deadfire for longer than I like to admit. And lost my stomach for it eventually. That's how I wound up here. But I will tell you now, I never could have fought my own brothers and sisters. I hope that's not what it comes down to. But I'll understand if that's a line you can't cross. I don't mean to burden you. It's late, and you've still got a god to face. Just know that whatever you choose, I'll fight alongside you. I'm with you to the end of this. Anytime. Good night, Envoy.
Hey, I wanted to say that I'm sorry to hear about the whole Tama thing.
Thanks, Marius. That means a lot.
I've left people behind before.
A breath held. Trepidation. You are close, yet distant still. The bars were not enough. They writhe. They seek to silence us. Only essence sustains them now. Hatred seated in the heart. We wonder. We did not foresee this. An equal trade. We accept. A question, like the ocean. What is wanting? What is what? We would run, roll with the tide, sink our fingers into new earth. Whisper in the fields, lift the hills gently in our hands. Disturb the dirt, but spare the blooms. Shake the roots slowly. Vengeance denied, squandered. This cannot be. We spoke of flowers. We speak of freedom when the hand still clasps around our throat. Wake now. Find us.
That's done. Walk like it's hard.
Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Or am I going mad? What is the meaning of this? It can't be real. This is an illusion. A joke. Tell me we're both seeing the same thing. But worse. So much worse. Why am I cursed to see this again? Why does the memory follow me wherever I go? Wanna know what I think? I think someone's laughing at me. Whoever is responsible, I'm tired of the bullshit. Step forward and answer for yourself, coward!
Godlike of Sapadal, long have we awaited you.
Finally, you've come home.
It's not just me, right? The plants are talking.
Oh my gods. They're alive? I can hear them, but not with my ears. It feels like someone hitting my soul with a tuning fork. How? Where would I even begin?
Giada Castel, welcome.
Wait, you know me? How do you know me?
For centuries, our whispers filled the silence. Then we heard your mother's call.
My mother? You heard her?
She reached out to us, using the tool you now carry.
But that would have been years ago. The first time she used the phantasmal focus. The only time she used it.
We heard, and Sapadal answered, saying in a great voice, "We are here. You have found us."
But when Sapadal speaks, the living lands trembles. The voice of a god can be a terrible thing.
No, this can't be. What exactly happened to my parents? Tell me, please. I need to know.
Sapadal wanted to be heard, and in so doing, twisted your family in body and soul, broke them into a more suitable shape.
Sapadal does not know the limits of their strength. Mistakes were made.
Mistakes were made? Do you have any idea what my life has been since your little mistake?
After the incident, your parents were like us, and we took pity, so we helped them move on, as they wanted.
In the end, they thought only of you, their pride, and their love.
That's it. That's really it. The answer I've been searching for all these years. Sapadal destroyed my family. I don't hold you responsible. I don't even know if I hold Sapadal responsible. Your god has the intelligence of a scatterbrained goat, but that isn't their fault. It's simply how they came into being. I know they are. My mother and father would not have wanted this. A good animancer embraces death, and they were the best.
We are companions, toys, diversions. Sapadal fashioned us out of dreams and memories.
I can't believe it never occurred to me. They're animats. Ancient vessels held together with duty and loyalty. Their design is unusual, organic, much like the garden itself. Sapadal's work. All this time, your god has been making imaginary friends, drawing pictures on the walls of their cell. It's almost too sad to imagine. One final question, spirits. What is this? Why are you trying to ruin my life again? Is this your way of haunting me? What is it you want?
That's 4 questions.
We want to apologize on Sopadal's behalf, and for the part we played in your sorrow.
They want to apologize. I came to the garden for answers, not to offer forgiveness. Shit. This is going to hurt. Sopadal has been trapped here for millennia. Alone. Confused. Screaming into the void for anyone who will listen. When they heard the voice of a stranger, they overreacted. How can I hold that against you? Apology accepted.
Thank you, Giada. And thank you, Godlike, for bringing her all this way.
The time has come for you to find your patron, as you were meant to.
A garden is whatever you plant in it.
Sopadal wishes to be understood, as all mortals do. Seen, as all mortals are. What you see is the truth, glimpsed through their eyes, and they wish to share it.
Now that you have returned to the garden, Sopadal has everything they need. We will fade, as all things fade. Death is indifferent, not cruel, not merciful, merely inevitable. The pulling of an ancient weed.
We will return to the soil from which we emerged. In time, you will do the same. Our purpose draws to a close. A long rest is assured. May the living lands receive you with open arms. Farewell.
Goodbye. We need to talk about this, but not here.
Give her space, dearie. Giada will speak more when she's ready.
I see the disciple has found her way into the cell.
No. Clarion Steel. We know this voice. Why is she here?
You underestimate much. It is the downfall of those with your gift.
Out. Out. Her voice pierces our skin.
Look at this place. A quagmire of your parasite's worst instincts. Can you even begin to grasp the forces that you tamper with? Apparently, I must. The situation is worse than I perceived. Do you think you're special, with your god's thorn in your side? Do you believe you can hold dominion over chaos itself? When even the collective fury of the real gods could only confine the sniveling creature to this wasteland. You suspected. Then you must have understood why.
It is true. She twists the knife. The seas run red with memory.
In time, the gods felt the wretched powers seeping through this land. Its madness would consume us all if it was not contained. Chaos has no respect for borders. It goes where it will. A pity that its followers could not be reasoned with. They were defiant to the end. The poor godless, worshipping the very thing that subsumed them. We could not excise the rot and spare the roots that nourished it. There was none. Utmost chaos calls for unwavering rebuke. I see what you're implying. I will not acknowledge it.
Why does our prison not protect us? Help us! Silence her!
Listen to its tantrum. It knows neither order nor sense. Adir is the only thing holding back the tide of entropy. The answer is obvious to those with the courage to accept it. You are here now. There's still time to succeed where Ludwig failed. Face your false god and end its reign of terror permanently. Your soul, it is tethered to you. Only you can siphon its essence into yourself. The path of justice is fraught. Only the strong may follow it. I leave you with a warning. The false god's essence is strong here. It taints all it touches. My magfolk may be hostile to you. Stay vigilant and remember your oaths.
Never understood Wodika's appeal. Still don't.
I never thought I'd learn of the Godless's fate from their killer. Our work. It isn't looking. This way, is it?
I got it. Not looking so good. Let's see what you got. Everyone okay?
What is that? I know that place, right? Oh no. No. Why is this? They're dead. Like it just happened. Like I remember.
This is the moment I found you, bundled and crying, while our parents died.
Viate. You're not here. You can't be here.
I am dead, Viate, from the Dream Scourge. We are in the garden. As strange as this seems, it is normal here.
No envoy. I don't know much about this place, but I know this is where I need to be. I have faced this already. Why force me to do it again? Then for the god's sake, what is it? I am exhausted, Viate. I can't take much more of this.
You know where we are. This is my memory. When everyone died, and I found you back in your tent. How much of this do you remember? I can't tell from your eyes.
We dealt with Razvan. He got what was coming to him.
Good. And when he arrives here, he will have me to deal with. Sapadal wants to understand. They know your envoy very well, but not the people next to them.
I have what I needed. We dealt with Razvan. We avenged our parents' deaths.
Then maybe it was I who needed to speak with my Viate. With a clear mind this time. Even when we were children, you kept me alive, first by needing my protection, and then by being who you turned out to be. When you left Solace, it was like I lost more than my best friend. I lost my need to live.
I know. And I'm not sure I'll ever live that down. I don't think I know how.
You've always done everything you could to survive. It's time for you to learn how to live.
So, what do we do now?
I feel strongly that there's nothing left to forgive.
Easier said than accepted, Viate. Forgiving myself is the hardest part. We've both been through so much. But I can see that it's all behind us now. Just another thing we've survived after all this time.
A fine way to put it. I see it too. You've come a long way from that scared boy who refused to wear shoes for fear a bug might crawl out of it.
That was you, Nimdut. Look at my feet. Shoes. Kamayu.
Get out of here. Hike up your waistline and go talk to a god. They'll be waiting.
Well, it was good to see you, Viate. Even with all this.
Take care of my little friend, Envoy. He needs you more than he'll say.
Marius, dear. How are you feeling?
I'm alright. Good to see an old friend.
And saying goodbye, that's the hard part.
Obviously, it wasn't my favorite thing,
Grief is strange. You lose someone, and you carry around a little hole inside yourself till you die. Or maybe the same is true for the dead. Your friend obviously loved you.
How did we get on this topic? I thought we were talking about pancakes. That's all of them.
Stand back. Stay on your toes. You take lead.
Easy.
Wait. Isn't that Tama's cairn? Oh dear.
Are you seeing this too? No. No. This can't be. This room. It looks just like Tama's. Tama. No. I dealt with this. We stood at his memorial together. What is this, Envoy? This is your god's prison, not mine. It feels like I'm standing on a storm-tossed deck. I can't focus on his face. His features keep blurring, changing. I'm not sure. I know it's him, but I don't recognize him as the Tama I knew. It's like he keeps changing in front of me. Does that make sense? That's the problem. I can't picture him anymore. I used to remember his face so clearly from that night. His rigid jaw, the way his eyes crinkled at the corners. He was in pain, but trying to hide it. I see everything. All his moments at once. Joy, sadness, anger, heartbreak, stomachache. Everything from the handful of years that I knew him and the decades before we'd met. He's almost a stranger. I'm not. All this time I kept him frozen in his worst moment. When he was suffering and when I failed him. But now that I see him as more, it's like he's free of that. Yeah. I never realized what an injustice I was doing to us both. You're right. I am. It's like you said. His memory is no longer a burden. For the longest, I was afraid to let go of this moment, like I'd be letting him go if I did. Now I see I was just holding on to something that was weighing us both down. Better than I could have said it. I never thought I'd meet someone I respect the way I respected Tama. But you've made some tough calls, and you've kept your head and your heart in the right place. So whatever comes next, I'm with you until the end. Now let's go find this god of yours and end the Dream Scourge. When we reach them, what do you think we'll find? A victim? A villain? I suspect you're right. Let's end this. I'll follow your lead, as always.
in hot. Show me what you got! What's up, envoy? On your right!
Check your right!
You okay? Another win. Who's counting? Here it comes.
Incredible.
To see all this in its heyday, in its full splendor.
What is happening? As the affliction fester even here? It threatens our heart. We cannot fight this invasion alone. See clearly. We must.
Ghastly. Well done.
We have been here. We were here all the yesterdays before. The sun rises and sets. Time is mud. When were you born? When were we? We cannot say. We feel no spark of the Tabari Sinakis in this place. We cannot see it through their eyes. We slumber here, alone. The deer, the owls in our trunk, they took it all away. A tide of souls thrown upon the wheel. The ground gives way. We fall. Now our memory is a wound reopened. They came suddenly. The stillness of night split by grinding steel. A chill in our spine. How could we name it? First, they blinded us. Shining eyes pierced the concealing dark. Then they burned. Smoke ensnared the moonlight. The Akita screamed. a means to an end. We saw a terrible design in the roaring flames. They had carved a path to the temple. We were their true prey. Prune the branch, 3 grow in its place. We persisted, we were everywhere. How could they cull the wind? How could they track the stars? Then, they turned to what the Akita had made. They toppled the statues. They set the libraries ablaze. They could not kill us. They would curse us to oblivion. The Akita howled. They died. We cried out, sundered soul by soul. We broke the earth, called down the storm, flung lightning from our hands. But they marched on. We grew tired. In fury, we exposed ourselves. Weakened, they advanced on us, they struck. They raised machines, we tried to tear down the garden's walls. Then, nothing. We floated in a great glass eye. The fog closed in on us. We reached out, but the machines held us in. We could not feel the new day's sun play in the shifting tide. The cities crumbled. We could not save them. We could not save ourselves. Extinction bought with blood. The victor writes with the ash. We watched helplessly for aeons. Until you. A chill wind. Our branches shudder. We do not think of this. The wound numbs now. We watch as the river of time expands. In the silence of our prison, we find clarity. How many voices lost? How many saplings have we cut down? We sink into the endless night. Perhaps we should be here. Fish swims in circles. We are not sure we understand. We feel the hatchets in our bark. Our scars no longer pain. Soil stirs. We have a new memory of this place. You opened the final lock, entered the hidden glade. You listened. You stand at a cliff now. We watch your footsteps carefully. We twine together. We reach for the sky. We grow. We grow. We grow.
Take your best shot.
Someone's eager to meet us.
Not sure. Aim where?
Slow down, dearie. Watch your right!
Coming from your right. Not looking so good.
Behind safe!
This will hurt!
Yahtzee, remind me not to make you mad.
place feels familiar. Hurry, let's go inside. This is the library from my dreams. It's real? Look at all these tablets. Actual written records. Oh, somebody pinch me. And there's even some wine to read with. Oh, whoever was here last, I would have gotten along well with them. Garlowain's gonads. Look! It's even the same hearth from my dream. And that's the chair. It's the picture of coziness. It's plush and warm, Envoy. What more do you want? Finally! You've arrived. Ah, there it smells. That took 10 years off my life. Wait. You must be the librarian from my dreams! Oh, it's a pleasure to finally meet you. Oh, though, you do look quite familiar.
You could be twins. Except your hair's better.
It has been quite some time. Too many years to number. Of course. You are an ancestor? A very fashionable one at that. No, child. We are the keeper of these tablets. Or have you already forgotten? Oh, of course. I was you in a past life. Oh, I'm such a fool. You lived with animancers, and yet the idea of awakening to your past lives never entered your mind.
This is definitely sounding like one of Giada's ghost stories.
I was the last of the Akida. Once the attack started, a few of us were charged with preserving as much of our history as we could. So we retreated with as much as we could carry. The attacks? You must mean the Magfolk attacks. Yes, we've heard. Is that the reason for the bodies outside? Yes. Your monstrous gods, who bought their divinity with blood and the souls of their faithful. They tried to butcher every last one of us. They did in the end. But they didn't get exactly what they wished for. I made sure of that. But how did the Magfolk reach you in here? They didn't. Between the screams of my kin being slaughtered and the screeching of the Magfolk, I couldn't breathe. That's the screeching I heard in my dream, Envoy. I knew I recognized it when we killed that Magfolk. Once it was gone, there was nothing left. And perversely, I found the quiet worse. So I decided on another way. One that wouldn't give your gods the satisfaction. Poison? Well, at least you washed it down with some good wine. Oh, you're just a barrel of fun, aren't you? Yatzli, you know what you must do now. I abandoned my duty to protect our history, but you... Someone must tell the story of the Akida, and there is no one else. I'm already an expert. What more do you want me to do? Think about it, Yatzli. You have been training to be the new protector of this collection since childhood. I couldn't ask for a better successor. But that was your duty. I have my own dreams. Yatzli, if you do not become the new librarian, there will be no other. The stories of the Akida will turn to dust, and my people, our people, will be forgotten. Just as the burned queen wanted all along, when she sent her magfolk to choke the life from us. This is all too much. What do you think, Envoy? You're no help at all. Please, I ask for your opinion because I want it. Tell me, what do you think? That apprenticeship is more than I could have ever asked for. I don't know. That's hard to ignore. A chosen of Sapadal, yet you do not stand with your people. How disappointing. Our time is at an end, Yardsley. It's time for me to go. Wait! I've not even asked you any questions! Tell me about your marriage rights. Oh, did you mean for all your buildings to look so phallic? Unfortunately, my time is at an end. You must keep Yardsley alive. She is the last hope of the Akita. So this is goodbye. I wish we could have... No. I wish that all of you had a better ending. She's gone. Forgive me, Envoy, but we should get going. We can talk back in camp. Later. She must have wanted to leave some evidence of herself here. I would want the same thing. This must be the Akita building the library. How brave of them to keep the knowledge safe. I'll never understand the Akitan love for death traps.
I'm starting to think these people killed themselves off. let's take a break before we continue. There's always a weird sort of quiet on the eve of battle. I'm feeling that now. Seems like a good time to gather our thoughts and share a drink before whatever's coming.
Right. This seems like a perfect place to stop and relax.
Though it's hard enough to tell what's real here without a belly full of drink.
Sounds like you're nervous, dearie.
I'm feeling all kinds of ways. Anxious, excited, scared, hungry.
I feel it as well. It is only mortal to feel overwhelmed in the presence of the immortal.
Oh, you don't have to worry about me. Getting to see that vision of Tama did me good. Like, I finally let go of something I'd been holding too long. Now that we're here, I'm eager to see this through. Nothing worse than holding your breath and waiting. Same. I'd rather have good company in a prison than paradise alone.
Had a feeling you might ask me that. I'm not sure I've really worked through what I've seen here, but I am grateful for the chance to see Yonku again. I feel like we're almost done with all of this, but we are in the weirdest place in the world, so who knows? I'm completely baffled, but when haven't I been lately? Being afraid doesn't even feel scary anymore.
I think so. The garden is so much more than I expected. Full of contradictions. Wild, yet serene. Truthfully, I didn't come all this way searching for my own answers. But I found them. Or perhaps they found me. And now, it's like there's a new path laid out before me. A life after the Dream Scourge. We're close to something. A threshold between calm and crisis. Conflict and peace. Life and death. So am I. None of us could have gotten this far on our own.
Well, I won't lie to you, Envoy. A lot's happened. It's not every day that you learn that you're the last hope to carry on a legacy, but... well, here we are. Never literally talked to myself before either. I think I annoyed her. Me? Oh, I think I need another drink. But here we are. I just need a moment to take it all in. We all could, but I don't think we'll get it. And I wouldn't worry. Our little group here is perfectly frightening, and I'm sure our enemies would agree. We'll be fine. I can't speak for anyone else, though.
You've listened to all of us. How about you? You've been through a lot since you arrived. You've been shipwrecked and assassinated, harangued by gods, bureaucrats, and a death guard. You've had your soul poked, your loyalties questioned, and your sleep regularly interrupted by a god with no respect for privacy. And yet you've kept yourself and all of us together. How are you really doing?
Under the circumstances, that's entirely reasonable.
Join the club.
I'd been more concerned if you weren't scared. Did you think we'd judge you for that? I'm the least judgmental person I know.
None of us thought this would be easy. For you, most of all. We've survived our own hardships. Now we'll survive yours.
When we first met, I didn't think you'd last long. But then I saw how you handled that dream thrall bear. Shook off your own death like a bad cold. And then you confronted your own killer and let him go. It takes a special kind of strength to stay your hand in a moment like that.
I didn't know much about you at that point. You were traveling with Kai and you died, which I thought made a lot of sense.
I remember your calm. How you listened to my shouting match with the governor and actually heard me. You saved my city and gave me a home. A sanctuary where I could be myself. I'll never forget that.
You were my hero right away. You rescued me from those sporlings. You got my priceless face. What more could a girl ask for?
And now look at you. Look at us. How far we've come in a short time. One crisis at a time, please. I can only lose so much sleep.
She's right. Not to raise the sails before the anchor, but we left trouble in our wake. Fjord, Thirdborn, Solace. If we make it out of here, it won't be to a living lands suddenly at peace.
Just this once. Could we forget about the rest of the living lands? Some of us could use a break.
That doesn't mean it's Giada's scary story time, does it?
I thought my stories were insightful.
If we can't take a moment to ourselves on a floating island outside reality, then I don't know where we can.
Right. We could all use some beauty rest. We'll want to look our best on the battlefield, won't we?
Before we turn in for the night, I'd like a word in private. Nothing serious, just planning out the rest of my life.
Get some sleep. There'll be plenty of time for sentiment and hugging later. So those green people in the garden, those weren't your parents?
No. All this time, I thought my parents died in a freak accident. An experiment gone awry. A mistake. And in a way, they did. But it wasn't their mistake. It was Sapodal's. That's what I keep asking myself. This whole experience has me considering my family's work in a different light. Look at what my mother accomplished. Armed with her research and her wits, she found a god. When you speak to a god, it's nothing. Barely a reflex. But for the rest of us, it's unimaginable. No animancer can live up to that. Certainly not me. I thought their legacy was a curse, and I could only break it by completing their work. I was wrong. Of course I can. But now, I can do them for the right reasons. One thing is certain. When it comes to animancy, I need to unlearn some of my old assumptions. I wanted to tame the spirit of the living lands. Now, there's so much about it I don't understand, and it's creepy, but wonderful. Perhaps, as long as no one gets in my way. I believe the power flowing out of the garden drove this island mad. That has to end. Through animancy, we could help the living lands recover. It would take a lifetime, maybe more, but that's a small price to pay. Then again, who am I to interfere with an ecosystem that I barely understand? On the other hand, half the fun of animancy is stirring the pot and getting into trouble. I think I know what I want, but there are too many variables to consider. What do you think? The thought has crossed my mind, but no. I burned that bridge, and I don't regret it. Politics and small minds held me back for too long. I have a lot of catching up to do, and plenty of room to grow. But I think you're right. So be it. Starting today, I don't have to live up to anyone's example. Animancy can be whatever I make of it. I know they would be. And not just because some ancient plans told me so. Now I just have to decide which field of research to pursue. But no need to bore you with the details. I've only got one lifetime as Giada Castel, so I'd better make it count. Hey, you helped me through a very difficult time. I just wanted to say thank you.
You're good with the animancy.
Oh, Envoy. Have you recovered yet from our chat in the library? I don't think I have yet, but maybe talking it out will help. A pretty sentiment, Envoy. I would appreciate something actually helpful. It's just... we already have a lot to take care of, don't we? We have a god and an empire both vying for our attention, and now I have this legacy forced on me. I was already unsure what to do, and now a third option appears like the world's worst surprise. But it makes sense. My whole life has been about the godless in one way or another. It explains why I knew the language, why I felt so drawn to the ruins. I love the man, but he'll just be endlessly supportive, the fiend. And trying to send a letter when we're on the move like this? It's a struggle. It's not an answer I would have expected, but it's an answer. And now that I know, I kind of thought, well, honestly, I feel more... full. Like a puzzle piece sliding right back into place. No matter what happens, even if my path doesn't lead to the library, I feel better than I have in ages. Oh, I was just thinking I needed more options. How did you know? I think... for the first time in my life, I don't know what to do.
Congratulations, Yardsley. Now you're just like the rest of us.
No matter what, I've always known exactly what I want. But this is the first time I've had more options than time in the day. What do you think? I ask because I want your advice, Envoy. Please. What do you think? You're right. It's the one area of my life that's gotten the least love. Seems it's about time to make up for that. Thank you, Envoy. I've been agonizing over this for longer than I want to admit. Finally picking a destination makes the journey a lot easier. Oh. But I am not looking forward to telling Quilici.
He'll understand. Your happiness and fulfillment are everything to him.
Well, come on. We've bigger things to deal with. Literally, in Sapadal's case. Much as I'm loath to relinquish the spotlight, we should be off. And Envoy, thank you, truly. Now, let's go.
I came here to help you do whatever you're supposed to do with your god friend. Instead, I'm here talking to dead people. I've heard about the garden all my life, and I never expected something like that. But thanks to you, I think I was ready for it. I mean, it was Bleste bizarre, but I could handle it. I will say, it's not really what I expected when I started tracking you and Kai back in Paradise. No, I was thinking more in terms of hunting for wild game and peeing on Kai to put the fires out. It's been a bit of a ride, Envoy. I feel like it's coming to an end. One way or another. I don't know. Maybe the unexpected isn't so bad after all. I never expected you and I would become friends. Quick note. If you tell any of the others I said that, I'll poison your drink. Anyway. Pleasant dreams.
Marius, could I examine your soul?
Oh, no. You'll use none of...
Sapadal's prison, I think. What else could it be? Time to shut it down forever.
Let's look around. There's got to be a mechanism somewhere around here.
Not bad, Envoy.
Take your best shot. Just like the good old days.
Just a little spark. Charge it. Gather round! Bravo! I'm rooting for the skeletons. Watch your flank! Well struck!
So good.
So, this is how you imprison a guard.
Keep your guard up. We gotta live to tell this tale.
Got eyes on something? Speed up! I'll fix it! Coming from the left!
I got it.
Let's see what you got.
Come on! Come on!
Come and get me!
You won't get through this!
That armor won't hold up. Hey! Over here!
Quick as a fox!
Another win. But who's counting?
After so long, you are so small, we questioned if you were real. Then steps, a voice, through armies and corrupted soil, you persevered. Now, you are here. It is real enough to hold us, a fortress, a nightmare. We were innocent once. We woke, and we wanted nothing but connection. But the other gods imprisoned us, left us to suffer alone in this place. But you are here now. You found us, a sprout in the endless winter. There is little time. We would be freed from these bonds. The Strangler is close now. We feel her wire against our flesh. She begs for our blood. Her wolves defile the city on the shore. Blood on the tile. The people's cries ring in our ears. She pierces us now. Now! We will not brook this. Not again. A spark. Wait. The essence bends here. Time flows into itself. You can reach her. Will the garden to open. It will take you there. Breathe. Focus. Shape the essence with your hands. We were everything. What have we lost? What multitudes could we contain? We could run, leap in the water, flourish in forgotten hills. We must. We shall. We have been thinking of this. We mourn our past. We only seek peace now. A chance to regrow. We hear your words. We do not desire it, but we hear them. You met death, and you offered your hand. And where is your mercy for us? You know we deserve better than this. Give us peace. We want a chance to change. We deserve that opportunity. And yet, you trusted the mage who turned so many souls into kindling. We deserve more than this prison. Let us have a chance to rest. We want peace. Or do you have no more mercy for us than you did for the bear? The beautiful thing you killed, already you have forgotten. We asked what you would do with an animal that sickened after a fight. Do you remember what you said? Then let us die. You would offer a beast, and the world mercy from its pain. Grant us the same. The time has come for you to act. End our pain, and the dream scourge will cease. Give us peace. It is all we have wanted for so long. So be it. It has been so long. Our leaves curl and brown. Despair bleeds through the land. End it. Silence. Stillness. We are done. Unsown. Peace.
Andra's depths.
It's paradise.
Are we back in Dawnshore? Already?
That must have taken an incredible power. Beyond all mortal understanding. How do you feel? Glad it's not just me. Unfortunately, we don't have time to recuperate. Whatever happened back there, it appears our work isn't finished yet.
Are you seeing this? I don't think Paradise looked like this when we left it.
Looks like the war already started, and the giant roots are winning.
Marius, vines don't usually get that big this quickly, do they?
Based on their growth and size, I'd say we've been gone 2 or 3 weeks.
For once, I wish I wasn't. Who knows if the garden affected time, or merely our perception of time? Assuming there's even a difference.
It's like how a body fights an infection. The fever gives you strange dreams that feel like an eternity.
Look at this place. It feels like we're still in the dream. And not just us. Those are more your people's ships in the harbor, and steel garrote banners past the barricades. That can't be good.
Even Reingrim is here. Perhaps we get to see an Archmage in action.
I think I see Elia as well. What a strange reunion this will be.
The Blessed Wardens are here too. That conflict we've been trying so hard to prevent started without us. Nah, don't be so hard on yourself. The Steel Garrote have been itching for a fight this whole time. This would have happened with or without us.
Before we go, what happened back there with the Dream Scourge and Sapadal?
Glad the Dream Scourge is over, but I can't help but think killing a god will have consequences.
I'm sure it wasn't easy, but I think that's for the best, Envoy.
I can't believe Sapadal is gone. For better or worse, the spiritual health of the living lands depended on them. What now?
We took out the Dream Scourge and Sapadal in one fell swoop. Quite impressive, really.
You've saved the soul of the living lands. Now the survivors fight over its bones. We should take a look. See if we can get ahead of whatever storm is brewing down there.
People seem to be gathering west of here. Whatever's happening, let's be a part of it.
Sansa, how did you make it out here? Guys, envoy! They marched in with no warning. I couldn't think. I just ran.
Easy. You're here now. Where did they come from?
Envoy! What does the Garrote think they're doing? It's an outrage. What did the artisans or merchants do to them? They broke some glass, but the map is safe. They didn't think I was worth the trouble.
Right now, that's a good thing.
If you're looking for survivors, a few of us fled to the Balrog.
How many?
I'm not sure. I saw Sapiento. Gods, I hope they're not trapped in there. I am sorry I can't be more help. On the very first page.
We should move. Let's hope the Garrote hasn't made it to the Balrog yet.
Envoy, wait! Before you go, I may have something for you. I took some supplies when I ran. If you think they'll help, they're yours. I'll even give you a discount. You know, for saving the city and everything.
Why is there snow here?
That's gotta be Ringgrim's work. I heard.
A familiar face. We meet again, Envoy. Paradise burns, thanks to Ludwine and the Steel Garrote laying siege to it. But the Dream Scourge is gone.
It wouldn't be the first time she's come back.
It's remarkable how hard you mortals fight for causes that'll be forgotten within centuries. Still, I do think the world has been irrevocably, if minimally, changed by your actions. Envoy, please. You know there's no point lying to me. I'm here because I'm curious about what you'll do in this moment. Empires die, legends are forgotten. Sorry, but you mortals truly are inconsequential in the long run. It is indeed. I'll admit, I almost miss it. The mystery, the days of research. Now we're back to simple mortal drama. The end of a god is a complicated thing. It may take centuries for the repercussions to fully reveal themselves. Mostly, I'm curious about whether you think you've made the right choice. Wise answer, that. I am interested in seeing the outcome of your story, Envoy. With luck, it won't end with you also on fire. Mortal comforts are so very adorable. All you desire are your base needs lavishly fulfilled. Goodbye, Envoy. And Yardsley, I do look forward to when all of this is done. I am eager to work with you.
Yes, of course. I look forward to working with you.
What happens in Donjon shall ripple across. Oh, Envoy, how good to see you here as we stand together at the brink of this historic event. I don't know if thank you is precisely what I want to say, but I am grateful to you for bringing Dolna's theft to light. Paradise burns from the torches of the Steel Garrote. The people of the Living Lands stand ready to defend their home. Yes. What happens in Paradise now will decide the fate of the Parkrunen after all.
What's the plan if Paradise falls?
We will find a way to persevere. We Parkrunen have a gift for surviving inhospitable conditions, and always have. Whatever the outcome of the upcoming battle, do not forget us. I fear that more than our deaths. If Adir and the Steel Garrote have their way, they'll strip the history books of any mention of our culture and our ways. Future generations will only ever know us as an appendage of the Empire. I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope so, Envoy. I truly do. That's as much as I'll say. You have a role in deciding what happens next. Do the right thing, Envoy. Let history remember you for the correct reasons.
Giata, where have you been?
Where haven't I been? I journeyed to the heart of the Living Lands, where time held its breath, and dreams had more substance than reality.
May I see it?
Not if you value your life.
Envoy, I knew you'd show up eventually.
How is Emerald Stair? More importantly, how are you?
Thriving on both counts, I'm happy to report. My revenants were just getting comfortable in Thirdborn when the Steel Garrote stepped out of line. When I heard tensions were brewing, I thought to myself, this is a job for the undead. So I gathered the flock. Likewise, I'll keep them on a tight leash, just in case the Steel Garrote breach our defenses. Better to have them and not need them. Oh, and I've been meaning to thank you. Whatever you did in the garden seems to have worked. Emerald Stair is healing, believe it or not. Once this is over, our crops will flourish like never before. Easier said than done, I suppose. Best of luck out there. And don't worry about a thing. My flock will keep us safe and secure.
Thank you, Elia. My compliments to the flock, as always.
I wasn't worried until she said that. Let's get out of here.
It's about time Fjord stepped up to defend the rest of the Living Lands.
I could go with you.
And get yourself run through with the steel garrote longsword?
When we strike
No
as
way.
Valgrunen, we strike as one. Show the steel garrote who built the living lands.
Exactly. You can't fight. So just stay here, wait it out, and...
So, here we are. The first and last battle for the living lands. If the garden didn't kill us, I don't think anything can. Metaphysically, the battle is already over. Sapadal is gone, and the Dream Scourge with them. But politically, we have a small mess to tidy up. I intend to send a message to the Steel Garrote, and it won't be subtle. Anyway, who knows what tomorrow will bring, so let's be grateful for today. You've earned a little peace of mind. Get some rest then. Let me take the first watch. Besides, I need to tinker on the phantasmal focus. Make sure it's ready for war. Don't stay up too late. If I must. We should take a moment to acknowledge what happened back there. You killed a god. The god of the living lands. Your god. How does it feel? I wonder if a god experiences suffering like the rest of us. What a loss. But to exist is not always a kindness. There is peace in death for those who knew none in life. Sapadal's imprisonment shaped this island. Now that everything's changed, I'm curious what will happen. We cannot know if the living lands will normalize or destabilize as a result of our actions. For better or worse, change is inevitable. Let's hope it all works out in the end, because the other gods aren't coming to answer our prayers. I hope you don't mind me bringing it up. The subject matter is a bit much for our little camp. Just be careful what you wish for. I want you to know this has been an unforgettable experience. Wherever we go from here, I'm grateful to have been a part of it. Until next time. If I must.
There you are, Envoy. You ready for this? You're probably right. I guess whatever happens, at least we stopped the Dream Scourge, right? This is just cleanup. Just figuring out who controls the living lands from here out. You said it, not me. Anyway, you should get some rest. Oh, if you need to rehearse any speeches or whatever, make sure you do it in front of someone else. I promise you I've heard it. Talk to you later, Envoy.
Marius.
Envoy? Is it really you?
Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
What did you see there? The god you felt in Nakutadek?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak.
It's been weeks, Envoy. What happened?
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thralls still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but.
What of this god, then? What does it mean that you destroyed them?
Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
Giata and I have some theories about the nature of the Adra in the living lands.
I'd say we're past the point of theorizing.
If the Adra here is a closed system, like a terrarium for our souls, then a gradual accumulation of essence could coalesce into a being in the beyond.
Much like the formation of gemstones. All it takes is time and the right application of pressure.
Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority. So, she killed the godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
Nakutadek was riven with those things, not to mention what they did to the land.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods saw fit to cage them, sounds like the Envoy did the Living Lands a favor in destroying them.
The only humane end for a rabid dog is to put it down.
Sapadal was something new in the history of Eora, and you destroyed them. I cannot begin to fathom the loss.
Sapadal was Nandru's patron god. With them gone, what does that mean for the Wardens, for legacy?
The devastation of Shatterscarp was the fault of this infant god. Can't say I'll miss him.
Well, whomever takes this island in the end will live in freedom from fear of a resurgent plague, thanks to you. But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwig's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodika lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwig who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her Steel Garrote laid siege to the city.
shortly after you beat her to the garden.
We've had no news from inside for several days. From what we can observe, southern Paradis is in pieces, and the remaining militia batters at the gates to no avail.
Is there nothing our people can do?
Given the state of our supply routes after the Dream Scourge, and the Steel Garot's destruction, we expect the people trapped inside will run short of fresh food and clean water in a matter of days.
We brought as many Hail and Able from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakuku Bell, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garot for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garot, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradis militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside,
the siege won't end until Ludwig does. And none of you know how to kill her.
Precisely. The lawful settlement of a new Adirian colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Woedican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. Somewhere inside that hollow head of hers, I believe she always hoped she'd turn you to her side. Remember, she has an obligation to Woedica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garot nor the queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwig in the tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwig's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwig's vision for the Living Lands. What passes between Ludwig and her men, or between Ludwig and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Your empire is doing what it does best. Stamping out dissent until surrender is the only option.
Your republics are hardly any different. Their intentions in the Deadfire were certainly not pure.
As you say, we left the republics for a reason.
I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when the Steel Garot attacked my home?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adirian rule and rule by the Steel Garot would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
You will take it all, whether the chance is given to you or not.
The Inquisitor answers only to Wodekan. In attacking Paradise, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwig has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwig, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. The Living Lands would become an extension of the Adiran Empire in leadership and law. Soldiers bearing the flag of Adir would be garrisoned in every town. They would be paid in Adiran shelling and speak only the Adiran language. Their roads would be smooth Adiran roads. Their medicine would be hygienic Adiran medicine. And their weapons would be efficient Adiran weapons. Our customs would become their customs. Our strengths would become their strengths. Our emperor would become their emperor. Turned toward a common purpose. No one, not Rawatai, not the Valian republics, not even a rogue god, would dare attack the Living Lands. This island would be safe for the first time in its history, and safe it would remain.
The traditions of Solus are what give my wardens their strength. Without them, we would buckle under the weight of the tusks. I would sooner walk my people into the acid sea than trust an Adiran to hold me up.
What need does Thirdborn have for the protections of Adiran soldiers? We have cannons, cliffs, and wills forged in the storms of Rawatai. And should Rawatai come for us, we will rain hellfire down on their heads. Your Adirans could do no better.
Under Adiran rule, your countrymen would strip my people of everything that makes them unique, all in the name of spiritual hygiene. I cannot betray them like that.
He would suppress our culture before it's had a chance to grow. Everything my people cultivated would be reduced to a footnote. If you have any love for this land, do not allow him to overwrite our history.
Rawatai built its empire from colonies like this. Many have become centers of culture and prosperity, backed by the protection of a strong navy. Of course, it can take decades to get there. And this road isn't an easy one. But Adir won't be the only empire eyeing this place. A formal agreement now could protect us from something worse later.
It shall be peaceful in that all dissenters will be silenced. So there's that.
Living Lands is a lot of things, but it will never be Adir, no matter how hard Adir wants it to be. Adir should turn back now and save everyone a bunch of blessed trouble.
Of course. The Living Lands would retain its own laws under a grave appointed by the Emperor. The grave would be expected to promote and develop the Living Lands to our mutual benefit. They would divide the island into administrative districts and see them governed by mayors appointed from the local communities. The island would provide tribute in the form of resources and taxes, and in times of war, soldiers. The Empire, I should note, is nearly always at war. In return, the Living Lands would enter Adir's sphere of influence, and should outside nations attempt to invade, we would come to the Grave Room's aid. Naturally, that would be the Emperor's decision. But I suspect he would choose you. Only the strong survive the frontier. I used to believe that was Ludwig. But you were born to rule here. Quite literally. Come now. You didn't get this far on heritage alone.
We give up our fighters and the wealth of our lands, and get promises in return. But we have wealth enough to give some away, if it means my wardens may return to their vigil in peace.
A grave rum could work, so long as trade keeps moving through the Scarp and you're willing to serve as our go-between envoy. And we'll have cannons enough to deter the adherents from trying anything stupid.
With the Dream Scourge ended, my people can soon return to Fior. If a renewed animancy could easily feed the island, I suppose we could send Adir what's left. But when lean times come, who will we feed first? Ourselves or the Empire?
Tribute, he says. Taxes. Soldiers. The Empire has tried it all before. Look to the Eastern Reach if you don't believe me. They want to bleed us dry, to fill their coffers and fight their wars, to break us like wild animals. But I will not bend.
It's still a gamble, but I think it's the safest bet. We get the benefits of Imperial trade and protection without losing all of what makes this place special. There's no way of knowing what it would mean in another generation or two. But right now, it gives us the security and stability to recover.
We were fine before Adir showed up, and we'll be fine when they're gone. Trust the lands and her people, Envoy.
If we give Adir power over us, we can't be surprised if they decide to flex it later.
Of course. Oh, Envoy, no. Do not suggest that lightly. Think of the Emperor. There would be reprisals. Ones which this conclave could not survive, fractured as you are. Not unless you came together and formed a nation of your own. It would be difficult. No, impossible. I'm certain you would fail. Think of your people, all of you. Think of the lives at stake.
Though I'm hardly eager to work with any of you, I like the idea of twisting beneath Adir's boot heel even less. So long as the Wardens can continue our vigil, I'm open to uniting, if you are.
It's a nice idea, but consider the costs. If we walk away from a relationship with Adir, we're leaving a lot of trade on the table. But the people of Thirdborn have friends in the world. I'm sure we'd find our way through.
With the Envoy's support, we'd have a god's power in our pocket. What could the Empire do to stop us? When my people return to Fior, we could create such miracles of animancy, the Living Lands would become the breadbasket of the world.
We deserve our autonomy, even if we must fight for it. Anything less would be surrender.
Fleeing someone else's laws and authority is one thing, setting up your own is another. We're an island of misfits and dissidents. We'll still have to surrender some of our autonomy, and we won't agree on what that means overnight. We'll be vulnerable. Without allies, other powers will see us as ripe for the picking. Know that this is a hard road to walk.
We were fine before Adir came. We'll be fine when they're gone.
I think we ran things perfectly fine before your kin got here.
Well, let's not twiddle our thumbs while Paradise burns. A fine compromise.
So long as my wardens are left in peace, we will endure a grave rum.
To brisk trade. A docile Shatterscarp and a grave rum.
A grave rum, then, if we must. And God's willing, Fior will feed the world.
I do not trust your empire to show restraint in its control of the living lands. Gods help us.
We can worry about the future when it comes. This at least gives us the backing to survive and rebuild.
Right. Might as well go ahead and start designing those rebel flags sooner rather than later.
Good. We'll have perhaps a whole week of peace before the yoke starts chafing.
I will do my level best to convince the Emperor to accept a grave rum. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradise, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwig. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradise Militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
Thank you for deserving it. Now, go and teach the Stilgarroth a lesson they will never forget.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
We will send reinforcements to help you reclaim the Eastern Gate. From there, work your way to the main plaza. May all the gods of Eora and the living lands protect you.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Stilgarroth can only make it worse.
Time to stop the Stilgarroth. Lead the way, Envoy.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Envoy, didn't think I'd be seeing you. One battlefield to another, eh? Frame thralls and
Next one's mine.
Bravo!
That's one for us.
let the worst come. I am ready.
Make the Inquisitor proud!
If you insist.
Time to
Found you!
that it? Now then. Stop right there.
Go ahead. I'll hang back and watch the gate.
That'll teach you!
The envoy? Of course you'd be the last face I see. I guess I shouldn't be surprised to see you here. I have. As an endearing soldier, it's only fitting I die here at the dawn of our war against the living lands. But never mind that. That isn't what's important right now. You've declared yourself for the enemy. You've turned your back on Adir, on the Emperor. Again. I don't understand. Why, envoy? What right do the others have to be here? Because they landed some number of years before us? Does that mean they deserve it? You won't stop us. Even if I'm food for worms. One way or another, these lands belong to Adir.
Better not make us regret this.
What are you doing here? I thought you left town weeks ago. You can tell me when we make it out of this. I saw a few on my way here. I imagine they've been waiting for this to happen for a long time. Listen, one of the Garot's units is scouting up ahead, maybe 5 strong. I wouldn't want to fight them if I were you. take this key. It'll unlock the gate to the canals. You can thank the captain who forgot it. Suit yourself. I wish someone had stood up to the Steel Garrote a long time ago. But, well, you're here now. That's what matters. Good luck.
We should go now. The fighting's died down.
Can you not hear the screaming outside?
She's right. We can't go now.
Envoy over here. What exactly do you think you're doing?
Liviana, don't you ever take a break?
You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you, fighting the Steel Garrote. What have you got to say for yourself? Well, at least you're alive. Try and keep it that way. Kai, is this your doing?
Come on. I couldn't have kept her out of the action if I wanted to.
I knew you were a bad influence. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess. Yeah, stop the fighting. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
Come on. You know this. You practiced with Uncle Capo 100 times. Tight, not too tight. You don't want to cut off the blood flow. Don't worry about me. Actually, I'm not sure.
Get it together, Lamoura.
Your days are numbered.
Point for you!
Enjoy the pain, dear.
plaza. Don't do anything.
Get past me! For our freedom!
Wodaka demands your submission. Stand against her and fall.
That's Ludwig ahead. Lead on. I'm with you to the end.
Let's make sure she stays dead this time. All right, dearie?
There you are. So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? My will is stronger than death. That is both my blessing and my curse.
Of course, we are prepared to kill you as many times as it takes, dear.
Death has no claim to me. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand. Heelguard is a fool if he thinks half measures will save the island. When this is over, I'll instruct him, personally.
I won't weep for Heelguard.
As for you, Sapadal may be gone, but their offspring remains. And I cannot suffer even a remnant to live. Congratulations on being the last of your kind. At least Sapadal cannot trouble us with another godlike. Their lineage ends here. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death. You really believe you can kill me? Do it then. Kill me as no one ever has. Hold nothing back. Give it your all, and destroy me.
Let's finish this. Together.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
You showed such promise, Envoy.
Someone's eager to meet us.
This is what we prepared. No quarter.
Come on! Let's get him up! One last time!
Kuwak 10! Worse than rock! Worse than rock! Whoa! Queen among queens! Send me your aid! Worth it wrong!
Come and get me! Try. Do your thing, yeah.
I let you have that one.
Okay, wounded cub. Help me. One last time. Ethic wasn't wrong. Let's see what you got. Wrong! Cool, what? 10! Easy. Wasn't wrong!
Slow down, Terry.
Wrong! Monica! Where are you? No! Don't abandon me now! She's desperate on this. This is it!
Kill her now!
Let's see what you got.
Watch this!
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for, but we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Gods, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. There is an absence in your thoughts where Sapadal dwelled. Once, the god of the living lands would have flinched at this rare moment of tranquility. Instead, they are one with the silence. The Paradise militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the origin of the plague has been destroyed, put out of its misery, and leave it at that. With your guidance, the Living Lands becomes a vassal of the Adirian Empire. In exchange for their taxes and soldiers, the free settlements are protected from future attacks. The fight for survival is over. You showed the rebels of Paradise mercy, but they can never trust the Empire. Instead, they keep to the wilderness, always 2 steps ahead of Adir, only attacking when provoked. That is as close as they come to peace. The Oracle Sargamus emerges from the Temple of Aethys, unburdened by any purpose but for the one you gave him. He sets out across the Living Lands in search of the sick, lost and grieving, and he gives them the comfort of fellowship where he can. When his energy flags, he recalls the compassion you extended him, and he returns to his work with renewed devotion. His new labors cannot fill the hole left by his god's passing from the world, but they give him succor during the long hours of the night. He dies alone in the Deerwood, beloved of no one, but remembered by all he knew. He does not forget you. The refugees of Emerald Stair resettle in Thirdborn, bringing their skills and research to aid the local community. What starts as an uneasy partnership blossoms into a bond of trust. Through shared adversity, they find common ground. In time, the people of Emerald Stair return to their city of Fior Messiverno. Animancy still has a place in the Living Lands, but the Empire's disapproval gets in the way of progress. Their work is slow, but unstoppable. Though Adir has promised that the Living Lands will retain their autonomy, not everyone in Shatterscarp trusts the Empire. But many Adiran ships sail into the Graveroom's ports, bearing fine linens and aged wines. These ease the painful memory of the day Reengrim culled their people. After the Living Lands is declared a vassal of Adir, Solace Keep reluctantly opens the doors of its fortress, though not before numerous missives are sent to Mihala demanding the Graveroom be honored. Her reluctance costs the dwarves. The Pargrunen are never favored in trade negotiations, and are the last to be supplied by Adiran caravans. But the Wardens have rounder bellies than anyone can remember. For the first time in many years, Kai feels an agreeable restlessness. Not to flee, not to drift, but to venture. He visits the distant shores Tama told him about, and savors the modern marvels, ancient wonders, and breathtaking expanses he beholds. His heart swells, not with grief, but with awe. There is so much to discover, and he will spend his years chasing all of the joy and beauty the world has to offer him. With many of his anxieties and lifelong fears addressed, Marius now feels very differently than he did when he first met the envoy. Still far more comfortable in the wilds than among people, he nonetheless finds that his worries about the unknown were merely self-protection against the traumas of his childhood. Armed with this knowledge, he finds himself more capable of living in civilization, and far less fearful of his home in Galawain's tusks. While he never regains his former place as a Warden of Solace, he spends his time traveling between Solace and Thirdborn, acting as a stubborn ambassador between the two. Giada continues to improve as an animancer.
She dedicates her work to the spiritual health of the living lands, nurturing instead of exploiting. Others follow her example, seeking her tutelage from lands far and wide. In the years to come, rumors spread of a secret society gathering in the wilderness, where animancers work in harmony with nature. The dream of Fior Mes Iverno lives on in her. Unable to pass up the opportunity, Yatsley takes her place beside Reengrim. Under the tutelage of the Archmage of Terror, Yatsley sees her own power grow beyond her wildest expectations. But Reengrim is a strict master, and the visits to Quilici slow to a stop over the years, leaving her with her grimoire and a pile of letters to warm her in her twilight years. Alone in your thoughts, you feel endless opportunities stretching out before you. This is the freedom Sapadal never had. You promise to cherish it. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.